All right, welcome. It's a couple minutes before 4 o'clock. This computer says it's 4 minutes till 4 o'clock.
2 minutes.
2 minutes till 4 o'clock. Just a couple of things real quick. My name is Laura Wesley. I'm Associate Director of Program here at the Constitutional Rights Foundation. And I just want to go over some logistics before we begin. Everyone should be muted. This will be a non-talking webinar. In other words, if you want to communicate with us, you can do so through the chat section. In order to get the chat section to appear, what you'll need to do is run your cursor or mouse over the bottom of your screen. It should pop up some options, and one of the options is chat. So if you have questions, and actually I'd love if anyone on the call can go ahead and start introducing yourself via the chat section, your name and where you're from. That would be fabulous. So we can test out to make sure that chat section is working fine. And just make sure that you click all panelists and attendees. I think the first option is just a panelist. Make sure you check that second option to make sure the message goes to all panelists and attendees.
North Carolina's in the house.
All right, welcome. Yeah, North Carolina. Oh, Florida.
Yeah.
Yay. There is internet in Florida. Wonderful.
There's California. All right. Oh, good. San Diego. Welcome, San Diego. We just made a new cohort for you. Seeing a couple of our teacher leaders.
Great. 1 minute.
Just now 4.
Okay, it's just now 4 o'clock. Last logistics is that we are recording this meeting, and so I'll make sure to send you the recording, a link to the recording of this webinar, as well as a copy of the PowerPoint in case you'd like to use that for a later reference.
Hey, one more time about the chat, because I think we just had some folks who just recently joined.
Yeah. So if you are new and you just signed on, you can locate the chat section if you put your mouse or your browser over the bottom of your screen, and the chat section should pull up. And make sure you list your message to all panelists and attendees. And if you didn't get the message earlier, please introduce yourself in the chat where you're from. And we'll also use this for question and answer at the end of the webinar.
And throughout. You're welcome to chat it up right along with us, because we're pretty chatty.
Yeah.
So, you want to get started?
Yeah.
All right. So, I'm Carrie Doggett. I am from Constitutional Rights Foundation. I'm the Director of Program here. And with me is Laura. She just introduced herself as Associate Director of Program. And Sarah Badawi is a Senior Program Director here. And we welcome her to the team. She's going to be working with us this year for you teacher leaders who haven't met her yet. She's awesome. We are really excited to kick off this year of this project. Last year was our first year. This is a 2-year project. And the teachers from last year loved it. Their end of project surveys were really, really positive. In fact, a bunch of them want to do it again, and we're like, we got to make room for more teachers to join. So we hope that you love it as much as they did and learn as much as we have through the process. Today, this webinar is going to go quickly. We like to get things done and not waste your time. So we are going to give you a quick overview of this project. We're going to talk a little bit about the content of the professional development, focused on academic discussion strategies. You're going to be working with your teacher leader and cohort throughout the course of this project. And then we'll just talk a little bit about next steps. So away we go. And again, feel free to chat. If you just joined, you can get into the chat by running your mouse or cursor along the bottom of the screen. You'll see a chat function. You can open it up and then just make sure you're chatting to all panelists and attendees. So a little bit of background on this project. CRF has a grant from WestEd to do this work, and WestEd has a grant from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And 16 organizations were invited to apply. It was invitation only, and 6 were funded, and we are really, really lucky and proud to be one of the 6. They are us, CRF, the National Writing Project, Teach Plus, National Board of Teaching Standards, ReadWorks, and Teaching Matters. So we're in very good company. We've had a couple of grantee meetings with those folks, and they want to work with us, and we want to work with them. So it's pretty exciting. Like I said, it's a 2-year project, and we are beginning year 2. The whole thrust of this project and what all of the grantees are doing, we are working with teachers within our own networks as teacher leaders. And those teacher leaders are going to provide professional development to cohorts of teachers. By the end of 2 years, each of the grantees will have reached about 600 teachers, and through cohort work that you're going to be participating in. And then there's also what we call light touch work. It's sort of the one and done webinar kinds of things, and we'll reach an additional 15,000 teachers each with that. So it's a big project. It's really exciting, sort of groundbreaking work in teacher leadership, as well as in drilling down and focusing on certain aspects of methodologies that are tightly aligned to new state standards. Laura.
Yes, so we're really fortunate to have some great partners on this project. Our first partner is from Florida, and before we go any further, our hearts and prayers go out to all of our teachers in Florida. You know, we know you all are going through a lot, and any way we can help, please let us know, and we appreciate you. Even through all of this, are still participating in this project and are here, so thank you for that. Let's see, it's so our partner from Florida is the Florida Joint Center for Citizenship, and they're located at the University of Central Florida. And Val McVeigh is our contact there, and she's working with 4 cohorts in Florida, 1 in Duval, 1 in Osceola, 1 in Central Florida, and 1 in Brevard County. So, Val, do you want to say a quick hello?
Hi, everyone. Val McVeigh from FJCC. We have 4 cohorts in Florida, and I have weird feedback, so I apologize. We will be starting up in October in Florida to give everyone some time to get settled after Irma. So we will be up and running in the next couple weeks, and we're excited to go. And we've got a couple new teacher leaders, Jen and Frank, and some returning ones from Duval, Shannon and Joy. So we're excited.
Great, thanks, Val.
Thank you.
So we're looking forward to working with you and all your teachers. Our second fabulous partner is from Carolina K-12, and the representative there is Christy Norris, and they're out of the UNC Chapel Hill. And they have cohorts in Guilford County as well as Iredell, Statesville. So, Christy, do you want to say a quick welcome?
Hi, everybody. I'm Christy Norris at Carolina K-12 at UNC Chapel Hill. And I know all the people in Iredell, Statesville just giggled a little bit at you when you called it Iredell. And our cohorts have actually already had their first face-to-face meeting, so I already have it on good information that we have some awesome cohorts in North Carolina and some awesome teacher leaders in Guilford, Jamie Davis, Lindsay Russell, and Lara Gonzalez, and Ben Conklin and Regina Yount in Iredell, Statesville. So I feel super lucky to work with these awesome people. We're looking forward to this year.
Great.
We love it that you all are telling us
how to pronounce things correctly. Thank you.
Got it.
And lastly, us, Constitutional Rights Foundation, we're based here in Los Angeles, although we do work nationally. And in California, we have 6 cohorts, mostly in Los Angeles County, although we do have one in San Bernardino, as well as a new cohort this year in San Diego. We're super excited to expand and work with some of our San Diego teachers. So let's meet your teacher leaders. All right. So in Florida, we have Shannon and Joy, and they'll be working with our Duval cohorts. And then new in Florida, we have Jennifer, and she's working out of our Central Florida cohorts, and then Frank out of our Brevard County. So welcome, Florida folks. Then in North Carolina, we have, we have Jamie and Laura, and they're working with our middle school in Guilford County. And then we have also Jamie doing double time working with Lindsay with our high school cohorts. And then Ira Dell, right? Or close enough?
Go up there.
Irtnell. We have Ben and Regina, so thanks so much. Thank you. I gave you the college try. And then in California, we have Martha and Scott, who are working in San Fernando Valley. We have Abo and Joffrey, who are working in South LA. We have Mark and Quinn. Actually, Quinn is on maternity leave, but we have Mark and Sarah stepping in for Quinn. We'll be working in our Central Los Angeles, North Los Angeles cohort. And then we also have Liz and Leslie, who are double teaming. They're going to be working actually triple, because they're working in San Bernardino, they're working in San Gabriel Valley, and they're also working in San Diego. So yay for them. And then lastly, we have Patty and Jerry, who are our East LA cohort. So thank you so much to our TLs. So let's see here. So what you all will be doing, these are a little bit of what you'll be doing this year. It's pretty simple. You're going to have 2 face-to-face meetings. One will take place here this semester, one next semester. After that, or after your face-to-face meetings, you're going to have time to work on our Canvas platform, where you'll have some discussions about how things went. And then you'll attend 2 debrief webinars. So that'll take place again this semester and again next semester. So pretty simple. And then what you're going to get out of it is you're going to get some free curriculum material. We have some great curriculum on the T2T website. In case you haven't visited, make sure you take a look. We'll also show you later on in the webinar where to locate that, but it's a curriculum library. You're also going to have opportunities to collaborate with other teachers. So you'll be able to collaborate with your teachers in your cohort, as well as teachers nationally and maybe even internationally, as Sarah's going to share with you that this course is opened up to pretty much any teacher anywhere in the world. And we're going to make sure we feed you well. And at the end of the project, you're going to get a letter to your administrators talking about all the fabulous work you've done, a certificate of completion, and then a $200 stipend.
So this work really focuses on interactive academic discussion strategies. All of us, all 300 of you, or 200, close to 300 of you, and the teacher leaders and us, we're all going to focus on academic discussion strategies. We're open with middle and high school teachers, social studies, and English language arts. There's still room in some of the cohorts, so if you have friends or relatives in any of the locations, send them on over to go ahead and register. One of the things that we've done is really tightly aligned this project to new state standards. And Sarah had a really fun project this summer that she very much enjoyed. She was laughing. Her project was to go through all of the standards in Florida and North Carolina and California for social studies and some of the ELA for grades 6 through 12, and really look at and take a deep dive into how are we really looking at standards in this program. And I know she enjoyed it so much, she wants to share a little bit of what she found.
I'll give you the short version, but basically, I think the most important thing for us to stress and to assure you as you're getting started on this project is that when we talk about the lesson materials and the instructional strategies being aligned to standards, we're talking about that in a really thorough and comprehensive way. So for all of the materials that we'll be providing you with, and the strategies and tools that we're asking you to implement as part of this program, you'll be hitting on both the history or social studies standards for your state, both in terms of the content and in terms of the skills, to the extent that, and they vary a little bit, but to the extent that your state standards, address the kind of historical thinking skills and analysis skills that are important in the social studies for those of you who are history and social studies teachers. But then also, not only for participants who are ELA teachers, but for everyone, that we're also addressing important literacy standards in the social studies curriculum. In the states that have adopted the Common Core, we're talking about the Common Core, but in states that haven't, we're still talking about important reading, writing, speaking, and listening strategies. So for example, what we've got on the screen right now are just selected standards from Florida, just to give you an example of the kinds of state standards that you can expect to address with your students. From social studies, you can see on here 8th grade, 9 through 12, but then also, for example, in the green box, we took from the ELA standards that you're going to be working with your students to read a text closely and make inferences and cite evidence when you're making an argument. So, so those are just some examples of some of the standards from Florida that you can expect to address. For North Carolina, we looked at just some of the overarching goals of both the essential standards for social studies in the red box, as well as in the orange box, material or information from the standard course of study for ELA. And the orange box talks about the importance of participating in a variety of rich, structured conversations, which is precisely what you're going to be doing with your students as part of this program. In California, where we are using the Common Core, we just listed here a few of the ELA literacy standards that you can expect to hit on as teachers in California. These are also supplemented by a number of standards from the historical and social studies analysis skills in the history and social sciences standards here in California. So things like 6th to 8th grade, distinguishing fact from opinion. In grades 9 through 12, how do you evaluate arguments? How do you identify bias? As well as, again, focusing on using text, citing evidence to support an argument, both in writing and speaking. So again, just to say that we take these standards really seriously. We know that you're being asked to address them with your students. We want to give you the tools to do that. We will make things as explicit as we can, so to help you in case your administration needs you to document or show the standards that you're addressing. And please just feel free to be in touch with us or your teacher leaders or our other partners just with any questions or concerns about this.
Thanks, Sarah. So this is what we don't want. You don't want it, we don't want it. And that boring discussion that isn't a discussion, it's the teacher talking and the kids doing what looks like a lot of them are actually asleep in that photo. Instead, what we're looking for here is engaged and focused discussion, where kids are using sources. They're making evidence-based claims and arguments, and their discussions really use complex text and depend on complex text. That's the goal. It's ambitious, we know. We've discovered a few things about this. And Sally Webb, you are doing exactly what you need to do. What we have discovered in really good, high quality, standards aligned discussion, every student needs to participate. So we have to find ways to do that. And we took a look at the results of the question that we asked you. And many of you responded really thoughtfully to the question about what are the challenges of implementing, academic discussion in your classrooms. And you said engaging all the students is really hard. So we're going to look at that. We're going to think about that. And we have some ideas about it. Your teacher leaders have a lot of ideas about it. You also talked about having the right types of texts, and you talked about having a structure. And so we're going to dive into those things, not on this webinar, but over the course of this project and really look at it. So when we talk about every student needing to participate, a lot of you, and I'm going to show my age here, may remember sort of those old cooperative learning models where, you have a group of students and somebody's the reporter and somebody's the recorder and somebody's just the listener or what have you. And those are really handy roles for kids who maybe weren't able to completely participate in pure academic ways. And so we're gonna step back from those kinds of approaches and try to think of ways that we can have every student engaged in the academic part of the thinking part of the lesson. Structured, we know that discussions need to be structured. They're not just like everybody yelling and screaming about, and that goes to the next bullet point, how they feel about an issue or a situation. And many of you in your comments talked about sort of, well, and it's interesting because for the first time, the comments really had a lot to say about the sort of polarization issues that we're facing in our country today, with even students, having strong opinions that maybe are shouted over students who are in a minority in that particular classroom or in that environment. And so we really have to think about how do we structure and how do we foster an environment in our classrooms where all students feel that they can speak, and we've got some strategies for you on that too. And it really is about evidence-based rather than throwing out questions that, well, what do you think about this and how do you feel about that? And letting kids just sort of ramble on and cite possibly fake news or whatever they don't know. It's really about giving them text and evidence and sources so that they can gain information. And I'll just say from the onset, and I know later on we're going to have a couple of teacher leaders do a whole webinar on this, Liz and Leslie, around the difference between debate and deliberation. This really, we're looking for, in this model, more about gaining understandings than who's right or wrong, and gaining individual understandings and coming to your own conclusion much more than coming to consensus. So everybody can take a real deep, sigh of relief there. That's not what this is. And then there needs to be some way to assess this stuff. So the model that we're all going to focus on this first semester is called civil conversation. And this is a model that CRF developed many years ago. And, excuse me, some of you I know might be familiar with a model called the Structured Academic Controversy, SAC. And that model has students look at a yes-no question and really analyze the yes side of the argument and the no side of the argument, and then come up with a conclusion. A SAC has many, many steps. It's a really cool discussion strategy that takes usually far more than one class period, as I'm sure Jamie and Leslie and Liz can attest to. They actually were in a grant with us many years ago, an international grant, where we focused on that strategy. The civil conversation is sort of a very condensed version of that. So here are the ingredients. First, there will be some kind of text. I suppose it could also be a video, but it's going to be information about the topic. And it's going to present at least two perspectives. It may be a yes-no question. It may be an open-ended question, but there's always a question for students to explore. And the hope is that they'll also come up with additional questions. It's meant to be done in at least pairs, best to be done in small groups, maybe up to 4 students. And it's very structured, and there's a discussion guide that your teacher leaders are going to introduce you to. I'm going to really let the teacher leaders work with you and your cohorts on it more than what I'm going to, further than what I'm going to say here on this webinar. But we hope that you like the model, and we already have lessons for you to use, and we'll show you where those are in a second. So we're going to do 2 learning cycles here. The first one is going to focus on civil conversations. And then next semester, we're going to switch to another idea about having academic discussions. And that is using simulation and role play activities as academic discussion. And there's some shifts that we think about when we do that. One of them is this simulation and role play activity conducive to academic discussion? And one of the things we'll be looking for is really opportunities for students to sort of have a forced perspective on an issue. And it's a really interesting way of thinking about having students look at different perspectives on an issue rather than just strictly from their own. And we'll talk a lot more about that as we near second semester. We'll likely have another webinar on it at the beginning of next semester. And within a learning cycle, this is what takes place. Laura sort of hit on it earlier. But you'll have one face-to-face training with or professional development session with your teacher leaders. It'll be short. I think they've got them scheduled for between 2 and 3 hours. And then you'll have a chance to try out the method, civil conversation first semester, with a class of students. You can do it with as many classes as you want or as few as 1 class. And then you'll come into the Canvas network that Sarah's going to show you, and you'll asynchronously, whenever you feel like it, just kind of talk about answering some prompts and having an online discussion around what happened in your classroom. And then the teacher leaders will schedule a live webinar where you can actually communicate and go back and forth and even talk about what happened and what might be changed and what could be improved, or maybe it was perfect, or maybe you hated it, I don't know. And then you'll be able to have a chance to teach it again with students, teach a different one or the same one with a different group of students. So we're looking at a teach, reflect, reteach model. And please know that, there's no administrators involved in this. Nobody's evaluating you on how you do this. This is like sort of that we're all in it together sort of project. There is an evaluation component, and it's really pretty simple. As I said, this is funded by Wested and Gates, and so they're interested in a couple of things. They're interested in learning if this project is helping teachers with their state standards, and if so, how so? And they're really interested in what is the benefit of engaging teacher leaders as professional development specialists, maybe as opposed to district-led professional development. And so that we're going to do some very simple activities. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to, and some of you already did it, I know we got the results from the Guilford surveys. You'll just do a simple survey after you've done a face-to-face with your cohort and really just give some feedback on how that went. And according to the surveys that we just got back, it was fantastic. You guys tore it up. The teachers absolutely loved it. And you can use the chat to say that you did. Then in April and May, toward the end of the project year, there'll be a flash survey. It really is very, very short. It's like less than 8 questions. We'll put that out there, and you'll take that survey and then drop us an email that you did it, and you'll get your stipend. And then throughout this whole program year, we're really going to be trying to collect stories about how this work is impacting you, and even better, how this work is impacting your students. This is going to help inform the Gates Foundation on what they do next. We've been really fortunate because we really, really have outstanding teacher leaders. In fact, Ava Morgan, one of our teacher leaders in South LA, I don't know if he's on, haven't seen him on there yet. Ava was actually published twice by the Gates Foundation through this project on their Facebook page, which has over 1 million teacher followers. So he is truly now a rock star. Liz and Leslie were just featured in a West Ed publication for their work. And we've talked to Gates and West Ed, and they would really like for us, our program, to feature some of the cohort teachers as well. So we'd love to hear from you. Like, how are you? How you doing? How is this going for you? Is it valuable? You want more? So that we can feed that back to West Ed and Gates. So with that, there'll also be some additional opportunities. They call these light touch activities. We call them one and done. And excuse me, these will be webinars that are, for the entire nation, not just for the cohort teachers. We've got one coming up on October 24th. This will all be led by teacher leaders. We've got one that'll give the rest of the nation a taste of what civil conversations are about. I know Leslie and Liz are interested, or if they're not, they will be after I say this, in doing a webinar on debate versus deliberation, using simulations. So we'll do webinars throughout the course of the project in order to reach, get this, 15,000 more teachers, and we'll do it too. And then our teacher leaders are invited, and so are you, to occasionally publish in some of our own publications. We also have a partnership grant with the Library of Congress, with a BRAT Education Foundation as a partner. And some of the materials that we're doing under that project, we intend to bring into this project. So you'll get some really cool new lessons before the end of the year using very cool primary sources from the Library of Congress.
Right, and also in addition to some of the webinars, we'll be hosting some Twitter chats. We're fortunate to have Liz Ramos, one of our teacher leaders, who's a great, as she goes by the handle, I think, history techie. So she loves anything tech. So she's led several Twitter chats for social studies as well as English language arts. So we're looking forward to having some more of those. We also will share Facebook posts. If you guys are doing some great things and want to share on Facebook, we'd love to hear about it. And then we'll also be adding more resources to our T2T website. So if you go to the website, you'll see the curriculum library, but you'll also see a place for more resources. And then we'll post new webinars that are coming up, recorded webinars that we've done before. So just a lot of resources that you'll be able to utilize from that website.
Also, I just wanted to mention, I see a comment there about Newsella or Newsella.
Yes.
And we are scanning, Newsella is what I call it. I know that others say Newsela, but we're scanning that on a daily basis, and we are actually picking out things and making civil conversations around their articles. And so you're going to see some of the things that you're listing there. You're going to see them in the curriculum library with the discussion guide attached to it. So that's kind of cool. And if you please do send us other kinds of sites that we can, because our job is to curate this library of stuff for you so that you're not having to search everywhere and look everywhere for it.
And so before I mention that we, in addition to our webinars, will be handling a lot of our discussions online that you can, do at your own leisure. And we're doing that through a platform called Canvas, and Sarah has spent a lot of time on that and is going to share that with you.
Yeah, so thanks to one of our teacher leaders here in the LA area, Scott Petrie, we were able to work out an arrangement with Canvas, which some of you are probably familiar with if any of your school districts are using it as their educational, online educational platform. So we're going to be housing our online discussions and posting a variety of resources on an online course hosted on Canvas. The course is called Engaging Students in Academic Discussions, and because of the arrangement with Canvas, it's open to any teacher around the world, but you all in the cohorts are the only people who will be receiving a stipend for your completion of the course. The plan right now is for it to open on September 25th and close on December 4th. We will send you a link and set up your username and password so that you don't have to go in and register for that. Basically, the way the course is set up right now is because it's both the place for our cohorts, but also this massive open online course. You'll find there a variety of readings and videos that may help you as you think about implementing academic discussions in your classrooms. But please don't panic when you look at the module, which we'll show you in just a second, to think that there's a lot to be done there. The things that you're required to do in order to fully complete your participation in this project and receive your stipend are the assignments that are marked with an asterisk at the beginning. For all of those things that are noted with an asterisk, like Laura said, you can do them sort of at your own time, at your own pace, but it's the other tab. Got it.
If you could just verify that you're seeing engaging students in academic discussions. I just want to make sure we have the right slide up. That would be awesome. Great.
Thanks. So your teacher leaders may give you more specific deadlines or completion dates for some of the tasks, but basically this is what the homepage of the course is going to look like. The real heart of the course, or how you would navigate the course, especially if you were only doing it online, is through these modules, which have a series of activities every month. So like I said before, it's a combination of readings, discussions, videos, only the things marked like the welcome there that Laura has the arrow next to right now. The things with the asterisk are the only ones that we want you to be absolutely sure to do. And then just to give you an idea of what some of the activities look like, if you go to for example, this video and discussion that we have scheduled for November right now, which is not required. When you click on that assignment, let's call it, you would find this interview with Diana Hess, which deals with teaching about discussion or implementing discussion strategies in the classroom. And then you would have the opportunity to share in the discussion board any reaction or thoughts to that video. And the same is true throughout the course for readings and other materials that we've gathered from teachers over the years. One thing we're still working on finding a place. I know people are asking about where can I find resources. One of the best place to start is our curriculum library, which is part of the T2T website, where you can find for this first semester a range of civil conversations and the civil conversation guide to use in your classroom.
So we're going to close down here. We have about 2 minutes left. And one of the things that I think is really key and important for all of you to know is that we're all growing through this project. This is not about being judgy. It's not about evaluating you as teachers or your personalities or anything else. This is really in the spirit of collaboration. We're all in it together. All the data and things that we collect along the way is to really gauge the success of this project and not the success of the teachers involved. Any reporting that we make to Wested or Gates or put out there won't have teachers' names on it unless we are celebrating something that you did, and we will always get your permission to use your name. And know that Gates and Wested agree. Academic discussion activities are really and truly one of the hardest things we do in a classroom. It's just really challenging work. And we're all in this together. We're climbing the mountain. And just think, there's about 300 teachers last year and 300 teachers this year. I mean, what if we actually can break through and find ways to help other teachers do really good academic discussion, and for kids to walk away with better understandings of perspectives? What if we can do this? So, in that spirit, we close down by saying, we think precise and intentional and joyful teaching absolutely leads to joyful learning with a purpose. And we hope that that is the outcome for you all. And with that, we're going to sign off, but we are going to sit here and take any questions that anyone has and do our best to answer any questions. And we really hope that you enjoy working with us teacher leaders. Let me tell you, we sure do. We are just
They're great.
They are outstanding teachers. And guess what? You all cohort teachers, we know there's some leaders out there too. And we want to know because we're hoping that this moves forward and we can expand it twice this size and use you all as teacher leaders as well. So good night, everybody. Enjoy your cocktail on the East Coast. Well, now it's cocktail time here.
If you have any questions, please feel free to type it into the chat section, and we're happy to answer any questions you might have about the project. Special shout out to Ben and Regina.
Site mailed.
No, I wanted to check out.
Okay, let's
La Jolla.
San Diego, if you're still on, right now we've been looking at different sites where we can hold your professional development on October 7th. As of right now, we're looking at the Pacific Beach Women's Club. So tentatively, that's where we're going, unless you have a better location that's really inexpensive or free. If you do, let us know. But we're going to nail that down, ASAP and get that information to you.
I think we had a question from Lena. Yes, you can definitely share with your department members. You don't have to wait to the end. We've had a lot of cohort teachers in their department meetings share the civil conversation strategies, or the role play simulations. There's no control group, right? Yeah, so please, as much as possible, share this information with your colleagues.
Get them in a cohort.
Yeah, have them.
I think Guilford's full, but I think there may be room in all the other cohorts.
Yep. So if you have other friends that want to join a cohort, they're welcome to do so. Hopefully Lena was still on the,
Yeah, she got it.
great. All right, so it looks like we got through most of the questions. Again, we look forward to this project and talk to you all soon. So we're signing off.
Thank you.